You live now to Melbourne, where Peter Dutton is speaking.
The next generation is coming through in this, well, you can say small business, but a medium-sized business. New Earth's been around for a long time, and when you look at the pride in this family, this is what small business is about. It's what the Liberal Party is about, making sure that we can give people choice and opportunity. Unfortunately, about 30,000 small businesses have closed under this government's watch over the course of the last 3 years, and behind every one of those stories is a family. A family who's lost their home, family who's lost their life savings, their dream, their job, and I want to make sure that we can run an economy and grow an economy that can give hope to future generations as businesses grow and as they pass down to generation after generation. So I want to say thank you very much to our wonderful hosts here today. I wanted to make a comment in relation to the reports around the Russian request with Indonesia. This would be a catastrophic failure of diplomatic relations if Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese didn't have forewarning about this before it was made public. This is a very, very troubling development and suggestion that somehow Russia would have some of their assets based in Indonesia, only a short distance from obviously the north of our country. We need to make sure that the government explains exactly what has happened here. Did the Prime Minister know about this before it was publicly announced by the President of Indonesia? And what is the government's response to it? The Prime Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister should have this depth of relationship with Indonesia to have had forewarning of this, and if they haven't, I think they need to explain to the Australian people what has gone wrong here, because this would be a very, very significant development and a negative one that's obvious to all of us. I'm happy to take a couple of questions.
How dangerous is this situation, Mr. Dutton?
Well, Tim, we've seen Russia in action under President Putin in Ukraine. We've seen women and children who have died in Ukraine as a result of decisions of Vladimir Putin. He's a murderous dictator, and we don't welcome his presence in our neighbourhood at all. It is deeply destabilising, and we would want to hear from the Prime Minister about what efforts have been undertaken. Obviously, surely they must have known about this before it's been made public. And if not, then that is a catastrophic failure of Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese. And at a time when the Prime Minister says we live in the most precarious period since the end of the Second World War, we've got a government taking $80 billion out of defence, and that is completely and utterly unacceptable. That's why we've spoken about the need for investment into defence, because we don't know what will happen over the next decade or over the next coming decades, but we need to be in a position of strength. And Anthony Albanese has had no interest in defence. They obviously inherited the AUKUS deal, but really they've just marked time in relation to it, and I want to make sure that we can keep our country safe in a very uncertain period.
If Russia is listening, what is your message to it?
Well, my message to President Putin is that he's not welcome in our neighbourhood. We have an excellent relationship with the Indonesians. I've met with the President both when he was Defence Minister and when he was President-elect. I caught up with him for a lengthy conversation in Canberra before he was officially sworn in. And Prabowo is a good friend of Australia, and he's got many good friends here in the Australian Defence Force, and he's spent a lot of time in Australia, and he's a respected friend of our country. But my message to President Putin is that we don't share any values with President Putin, and we do not want a military presence from Russia in our region, which would be destabilising for Southeast Asia, and it would certainly be a very different calculation for the risks that are posed to our country in a period that is very uncertain.
Mr. Dutton, have you sought or received a briefing from the government on this, and being the caretaker period, what's your expectation?
We've sought a briefing from the government and from the department in accordance with the caretaker conventions, and we haven't yet received that, but we've requested that today on the news of what I think is a very troubling development. Thank you very much. Thank you.